Hello everyone, my name is Garima Rawat and today I am going to explain data analytics life cycle. So data analytics life cycle defines the process, how information is carried out in various phases for professionals working on a project. It is a step-by-step procedure that is arranged in a circular order and each phase has its own characteristics and importance. As we can see in this figure, we are having total 6 phases in data analytics life cycle. So the first phase is discovery phase, then data preparation phase, then model planning phase, then model building phase, then communicate results phase, and at last operationalize phase. So we will discuss each one of this phase in detail one by one. So the first phase is a discovery phase. So this is the initial phase of which defines the data purpose and how to complete data analytics life cycle. In this phase, the data science team learns and investigates the business problem, identifies the critical objectives, and understands the business domain. Then gap analysis of data is also done during this phase. Gap analysis of data means identifying what all data is required for the project and what data actually we have with us. So that is gap analysis, what we have and what is required. Then the next is the team will formulate initial hypothesis that can be later tested with the data. So at the end, we can say that this phase's critical activity will include framing business problem, identifying critical objectives, understanding business domain, performing gap analysis on data, then formulating initial hypothesis that can be later tested with the data. Then the next phase is data preparation phase. So in data preparation phase, so after collecting all the data from different sources, so that data is called raw data. So we cannot directly start analyzing the raw data or model building on the raw data because it will affect accuracy of the model. So there is a requirement of data pre-processing or a data cleaning. So in data cleaning, we treat missing values, we remove duplicate values, we remove outliers because it will affect accuracy of the model. So what is outlier? Outliers are the extreme data points in the data. So for example, if we talk about age of the student, so student age will lie between 20 to 22. So if we are having age value as 100, so that is the extreme data value. So it is considered as outlier. So this phase also requires the presence of analytic sandbox to work with the data for performing analysis during project duration. So there are 3 ways to load data into analytic sandbox, that is ETL process, ELT process, and ETLT process. I will explain each one of this phase one by one. So the first process is ETL process. ETL process stands for extract, transform, and load. So in extract, transform, and load, the data is transformed based on a set of business values and then it is loaded into the sandbox. Then the next process or way is ELT process. So it stands for extract, load, and transform. So in this process, the data is loaded into the sandbox and then transformed according to a set of business rules. And the last process or way is ETLT process. It stands for extract, transform, load, transform. So it has 2 transformations level and it is a combination of ETL and ELT process. So after cleaning the data, the team will determine different techniques and methods for building the model in the next phase. So there are several tools which are commonly used for this phase, such as Hadoop, Alpine Miner, OpenRefine, etc. Now the next phase is model planning phase. So in model planning phase, data exploration is done. What is data exploration? So the team in data exploration, the team will explore the data, identifying relationship between the data points and to select the key variables and eventually devising a suitable model. So in data exploration, the data is explored to find whether there is a relationship between different variables, whether they are correlated or whether they are not correlated, and identifying the key variables which will affect uh, output of the system. And also it includes selecting appropriate model or finding an appropriate model for the project. So we can say that in this phase, we will identify different techniques and methods for building the project. So which technique we will select for building model? So it will depend on the our business problem, which type of business problem we are solving. So we will, according to that, we will select appropriate technique or method for building model. So there are several tools which are commonly used for this phase, such as R, SQL analysis services, etc. After this phase, we are having model building phase. So in model building phase, the team will develop data sets for testing, training, and production purpose. And after that, once it is done, then model is built and executed. Once model is built and executed, the model is evaluated to find whether the model is sufficiently robust to solve the problem or it has failed before moving to the next step. So there are various free or open source tools available such as R, Python, Octave, or Weka, and there are some commercial tools which are available for in this phase such as MATLAB, Statistica. Then the next phase is communication result phase. So in communicate result phase, it determines whether the results are success or failure. So the analysis results are evaluated and considered how best to formulate the findings and outcomes to various team members and stakeholders, taking into account warning and assumptions. In this phase, the team will identify key findings, quantify business value, and develop a summary report to convey findings to the stakeholders. And at last, we are having operationalized phase. So in this phase, this is the last phase of data analytics life cycle. So in this phase, the team will present full in-depth report with briefings, codings, key findings, and all technical documents and papers to the stakeholder. Also in this process, the data from the sandbox is moved and run in a live environment, which helps in learning about the performance and constraints of the model in a live environment and make necessary adjustments or arrangements before deployment. These are the references. Thank you.